Hey, good morning everybody. JB the Ranch Mechanic coming at you today with a video about this 93 Chevy 1500 4x4. This is one of our ranch trucks, and what I'm going to be talking about today is replacing the door handles. I've actually not seen any halfway decent videos about this on YouTube, so I figured I'd just throw my hat in the ring here and put something together for you guys real quick. But basically, as you can see, what has happened is the actual door handle actuator lever that you use to open the door from the inside has physically snapped off. These are made out of plastic. I've looked high and low to try to find a replacement that's made out of metal. I've emailed Dorman and a couple other companies to ask if they make a metal version of this, like a heavy-duty replacement, and I have not gotten any answers. So they're apparently too busy dealing with their distributors and bigger customers to deal with a little field mechanic like me. So that's fine. But we do have a replacement here. This is the Dorman Heavy Duty Solutions version, which I don't think is any different, but these mechanisms actually replace the entire inside of the panel, and you have to replace the entire thing as one unit. So it's kind of a pain. This goes all the way into the door like so, and you have to rivet it in place. So in order for us to do that, we have to remove the entire door, inner door liner, drill out the old rivets, pull everything off, put the new one on, rivet it in place, plug everything back in. Not necessarily in that order, I'm kind of jumping around. But I'm just gonna kind of go through this with you real quick. Keep in mind, your truck might differ slightly from how this one is configured just because this is a ranch truck. I've already done the driver's side door. Both of them were broken off, so I was driving this thing around for like 2 weeks, having to roll the window down in the middle of winter to open it from the outside. It was a pain, so I finally replaced that one. Now I'm doing this one. But this is the cowboy special here, okay? There might be fasteners and whatnot in this door that are not factory, that have been modified, that have just been kind of thrown in place to hold stuff together. This whole truck is falling apart. Again, this is a 93, it's very old. It needs a lot of work. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is pull this little bezel off that goes around your door handle assembly. It should just be held in with some little pull, little push-pull clips. Not the greatest design in the world, but you give it a firm tug and it'll come out. You want to be careful to put even pressure on this thing, because if you go cranking on one side, you will split this in the middle. This is old plastic and it's thin. All right, so this will come out like so, and there's this little tab that kind of holds it in, so you just bend it out just a hair, and it will come out. This little slot that it fits into over here. So then you can gain access to this. And then what you want to do, on the driver's side, it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to actually have 3 switch locations, because you're going to have the passenger side window, driver's side window, and your door lock mechanism over on the driver's side. On this side, you don't have that. You don't have that third switch because you can't control the driver's side window from the passenger side. So you just have your window switch, your door switch, and your lock actuator here. So in order to pull these switch mechanisms out, get yourself a flat-bladed screwdriver. Flat-bladed screwdriver. There's one of these tabs on the top and the bottom. So you just want to lift up on your little tab here and start your switch backwards, pull it out. Now, this outer shroud stays in place here, okay? So this thing with little wings on it, that's not going to come off. Just your wire and your little wire clip is going to come out from the inside. So you got to be kind of gentle with this. Release it, and then you actually want to pull on your wires a bit here, okay? Without breaking anything. It's a little bit of a balancing act, because these trucks are getting up there in age now. Get that one started, like so. And we'll do the same thing at the bottom here. Just lift that up and look at it. You'll see what you got to move. It's the same tab on the bottom as it is on the top, so just got to get a good angle on it. There we go. And that guy will come out. If it wants to cooperate, sometimes they don't, and just comes out like that. Okay. Now you'll see what just happened here. One of these wires just came loose from its little pin, and you'll be able to see where that came out of and put it back in here in a second. Sometimes that'll happen because you really don't have any other way to pull these things out other than just yanking on the wires, which is a terrible design. But there's no alternative, unless you want to disassemble the whole switch assembly, which I don't recommend doing. It's not necessary. Slid back there. Whoop. Ta-da. But yeah, so these little outer shrouds kind of stay in place, and just the plugs are actually, you got to pull them out by the wires. Again, terrible design. It is what it is. This is the part that you keep. So again, as you're trying to remove this, don't flex that plastic too much. This is old, they will break, so be careful with that. Now what I was talking about with this wire here, you can see, let's just slide into place, and there's little plastic tabs that grab onto that, and it just snaps in place like that. So when you're taking these out, they're color coded. So it's kind of hard to tell because this thing's full of dust. But this one's white and this one's gray. You got white and you got gray. I know it's hard to tell the color difference here. And a lot of times it's even more difficult because of the age, but with the dirt it's almost impossible. But you can see it a little better from this angle. White, gray. So you just match up white and gray. It's pretty much idiot proof. If you can stay in the lines in your coloring book, you can probably do this. So we've got that out of the way now. So what we need to do with this is, at this point, you can start to see where your rivets are. But there's a couple of them that are hidden way up in here, right here, and I believe right in that corner. So we're not done yet. Unfortunately, we have to pull the entire inner door panel off to get to this thing. There is a little Phillips head screw right here that you have to loosen up to get it free from the door. And again, this truck, it's a Phillips head screw. I'm pretty sure that's the OEM fastener. On the driver's side door, it's not a Phillips head screw. It's this little tiny hex, like 4mm hex head bolt with a washer underneath it. I don't think that's factory. So what you see here may or may not actually be correct. All right. So there are a bunch of little pull tabs all the way around the perimeter of the door. I hate these things with the little, like, you know, splined plastic deals that kind of only go in one way and are really hard to pull out. So that's what you got to do. Just yank on them. Go all the way around the bottom and the sides. These have been done a couple times, as you can see. So it's a little easier. If you've never done this before, you might have a little bit more of a challenge. But get all the way around to the side here. Ouch. We'll pull out our Phillips head all the way. I think it's still stuck a little bit. Come here, you. Okay. So that's the fastener that's in there currently. I'm pretty sure that's the stock one. You might have something different. All right, so that frees up the top of our door. Now, basically, the top of your door trim here is just kind of a U-channel. It just kind of hangs over the top, and the window dressing and all this comes out at the same time. So we just kind of lift and tug, and it should come free. There we go. Some people say it's easier if you put the window down. I don't like doing that. I don't like having anything in the way. I don't want the window down there where I'm working because I don't want to break it. I know it's probably unlikely and it's probably stupid, but that's just my personal preference. Anyway, that comes off. Take your whole inner door off. As like I was telling you before, these are where those little push clips go, but guess where all of them are right now? They're stuck in the door. So to get those out, you got to pull them out, get either a door tool, those little pry tools for plastic tabs, or just, you know, yank on them. Don't reef on them too hard though, because you can see these little oval deals, these turn, okay? So you insert it, the oval side matching, insert it, and then twist, and it locks them actually into the door, okay? So do that for all of these, mount them to the panel, and then you can put them back in the door, all right? So that's how your door panel comes off. Now, the fun part. You can see the rest of our rivets here. There are 6 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is totally broken. All right, so I'll grab my drill now. We'll drill these out, and then we'll go from there. Get in there. Use my left hand, sorry. not a southpaw. All right, so we've drilled the heads of all of our rivets off. Now this should pop off. If it doesn't, it just means you've got a little bit too much rivet material stuck to it still, but this is garbage now at this point anyway. So we can just pull and it will come off like so. Now, why isn't this coming off? You have two actuator bars that attach to this, okay? One of them is for the actual door lock, or the door handle itself right here, and the other one is for the lock actuator, okay? So, not going to be very easy to see here, but you see these little clips. These are locking clips, all right? So you need to lift up on that tab. There's a little tab that sticks down into the hole here. Lift that up so it gets free of the hole, and then slide it forward away from you, okay? Like so. And what that will do is, these are kind of like little keyways, all right? There's a little retention notch cut into this actuator bar that little sliding clip locks onto, okay? So with that slid forward, it opens up the hole all the way. And I'll show you on the new one so you kind of get a better idea. But with that pulled back, I just dropped it down into the door, but it's garbage anyway. You can take the actuator bar off of this little deal. Normally this will all be attached. It's not supposed to be broken like this. So that's one, and that's right here. Make sure we get all that out. And the second one, which you're probably not going to be able to see very easily, but it's the exact same thing. It's right here. So you got to reach behind it with your screwdriver, lift that tab out of the hole, push it down. This one's away from you, this one is down, and you can push your actuator bar out, all right? So push out and down. And these little these little tabs are really, really thin and flimsy, so sometimes you can just reach in there with a screwdriver and just pop them off. There we go. And our bar slides out, and we can get that off. So that's what I'm talking about. The little tab right here, I don't know if you can see that, if I'm lined up properly, probably not. There's a little tab right there, when these are, not all bent up, that'll sit flat and kind of lock down into that hole there. And your actuator bar slides through, and then when you slide that back, it locks onto the actuator bar and holds it in place. And the tab keeps it from sliding out. All right. So a relatively simple setup, just kind of a pain in the butt to get to. All right, so we've got all the old stuff out with the exception of the rivets. We got to get these rivets the rest of the way out. You can use a hammer and a punch or whatever. I'm just going to drill them the rest of the way out. These holes are so mangled from multiple replacements of these door handles that it doesn't really matter. If you're more concerned about the longevity of your door and you don't want to widen these holes out, either get a smaller drill bit or just get a hammer and a punch and drive them out. I just find it easier and faster to drill them. I'm going to have to do this again in a couple months anyway, so it is what it is. And with all that extra expanded rivet material removed, now I can just take a Phillips head screwdriver launch that one right to the back. Voila. It's a quick and dirty way of doing it. Not the best way of doing it. Like I said, you might want to be a little bit more gentle with your truck, but this is a ranch vehicle. Now on our new door assembly, you've got your locking actuator bar here. So you want to start it by moving your tab up and out. That way it's not locked because it won't go in. On the back side here, you can see it gets more narrow, and that's what grabs onto the little channel cut in the actuator bar. Let's see, where did my flathead go? I'm losing my mind. There it is. I'm the king of just randomly setting tools down and losing them, so sorry if I'm fumbling around on the camera looking for stuff. It's right in front of me and I can't find it. Just how it goes. Well, if it wants to cooperate, it will slide forward. This one doesn't want to, so I'll get it. Just take a minute. See, with my luck, what's going to happen is that it's going to all of a sudden let go and go fly off somewhere. That's happened numerous times. There it went. Okay, so Again, with this slid forward, it opens up that hole all the way, and then when you slide this back down, these little channels where it gets more narrow close around the groove cut in that tab, or in the actuator bar, and hold it in place. So that's what we're going for. Now I gotta find the one I just dropped. Dang it. Alright, so handle down. I want to find our actuator bar, which is hiding right here. We'll slide that one in. Get that one in place, like so. Slide our tab closed. There we go. That's better. All right, that one's in. Other one is the same deal. You just drop it in from the top, slide your clip closed. There we go. All right, that one's in. Now, again, if you're concerned or confused about your wiring, just have a look at your bezel here. The way it goes is like so. You want white, then gray. So white, then gray. Okay. So our actuator bars are hooked up and those tabs are locked. So now we got to line up our holes here and rivet the deal back on. Using these 3/16 rivets. These are probably a little bit long for the application, but that's okay. This thing gets the snot beaten out of it. So a little extra length is not going to hurt anything. And I kind of do this the way I would do a tire, just corners first and then work your way around. Try to keep these aligned as you go. It's going to want to fall. Put another rivet in over on the other corner just to kind of hold everything in place. It's not perfect, but it will help. Help you with your alignment. Uno. Go to the opposite corner. I don't need to tell you guys how to rivet stuff. I mean, if you're doing this job, you probably know how to use a rivet gun. You probably have one at your house. If you don't, it's fairly inexpensive to get one, and they do a decent job. So. So our new door handle is riveted in place. All of our actuators work, door lock works, everything is good. Now, I knew that everything worked already, but before you rivet this in place and you get your actuator bars put on, cycle everything a couple times while you're holding it up against the door just to make sure there's nothing binding and you got everything in the right place. I should have mentioned that earlier. I've done this enough times now where I kind of know that everything's cool in here. But if this is your first time doing it, save yourself the headache of drilling out all these rivets again and having to pull everything back out to tweak these actuator bars. Check everything first. Just a little tip. So we're done now with the hardest part. So now all we have to do is go around, pull out all these guys, which I'm not gonna, I'll fast forward through or else I'll just edit all of it out, and get them put back into the door panel, the inner door panel, and then we'll put the door panel back on. All right. Okay, that's all of our little retention clips. I hate these things so bad. Now we'll just take these, like I was telling you before. It's the broken one. These little oval-shaped beels fit into the oval-shaped hole. Imagine that. Then you just turn them 90 degrees, and that locks them in place, sort of, until they vibrate their way out again. These are not the highest quality deals. But we'll just go around Put all these back to where they're supposed to go. Miraculously, I actually have all of them for this door. The other side's missing about 50% of them. So the bottom of the door, the inner door liner just kind of flops around. But you get them all put in like this, and you flip it around. You hang your door back over your window trim here. Get that in at the top first. Give that a good push until it's all the way seated flat. You'll know. And then just kind of go around, guide your plastic tabs so they're started in their holes. Just give them a little shove. Now, the biggest reason people break these things is that they don't line up their tabs first. Because obviously, if they're not lined up with the hole they're supposed to go in, when you go slam on this thing, they're just going to bend to the side and they're not going to go where they're supposed to go. And that's how they end up getting broken. Now, don't get me wrong, it's pretty easy to break these stupid things. But just save yourself the headache. And line them up, spend 10 seconds and line them up first. It doesn't cost that much extra time. Of course, it's got to be the last one. It wants to be a pain. Get into the hole. There we go. Everything is in place, with the exception of that. We'll put that on later. Put light back up here. Okay, almost done. And we just take this guy, make sure all of our wires are where they're supposed to go. Again, I'm going to reiterate this for like the umpteenth time. White to white, gray to gray. All right? It's real easy when you take off the panel here to kind of get those mixed up, but as long as you got them in the right slots compared to where these go, you're going to be fine. They just plug back in. Just give them a nice little shove until they click in place. And there's little channels that they fit into. It's almost impossible to screw this up as long as they're plugged in all the way. Now, before you put this back on, put your key in the ignition, turn your accessory power on. You're going to have to pardon the popping and clunking here. The HVAC system's broken, so it clicks whenever you turn the power on. All right, our window works. Now, I think the power locks in this truck are screwed up anyway, but that side works. Sort of. All right, it's got power to the switch. The mechanism needs some work, but it works. So, click, 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 click. Sorry about that. So, now that we made sure everything works, we slide, again, we're going to bend this in just slightly. There's a little slot right here that tab fits into. And we line everything else up. There's little cutouts in your new piece where all these little push clips go. You just give them the gentlest of taps. And we're done. Almost, actually. Forgot about our little Phillips head screw here. This actually attaches the middle part of your door panel to the metal part of the door inside. So you want to make sure that that goes back in. It's not a huge deal if you forget it, but if your inner door panel starts flopping around because only those little plastic tabs are holding it on, and you look down there and you're missing a screw, there's your sign. All right. So there it is, start to finish. That's how you replace the door handle mechanism, the inner door handle mechanism on a 93 Chevy. Now I have my personal truck, one of my personal trucks is a 92 Chevy, which is identical to this one. The only difference is it has the 700R4 transmission. 93, they switched to the 4L60, the electronically controlled one. So the interior is identical. So far my handles haven't broken off, but the truck is also not running right now. I need to drop a new engine in it. So I got it for $350 though, so I'm not complaining. So that's another project. I'm sure I'll do some videos on that when the time comes. I got too many other projects going on for the winter for work right now. So anyway, that is that, guys. The driver's side is identical with the exception of you're going to have that third cutout for your two window switches on the driver's side, because you can control the driver and passenger side window from over there. That's the only difference. Everything else is identical. Obviously your part is going to be different. You know, your left side and your right side, the part numbers are different. This is, again, Dorman HD Solutions. There's a little plastic cover on that. Take that off. Ooh, chrome. Part number for this is a Dorman 761-5601. The driver's side is identical, but it's 761-5600. So those are the two part numbers you need. Again, a rivet gun, basic hand tools, a drill, and just some time and probably some busted knuckles and a little bit of swearing, and you'll get this done in about, half hour, 45 minutes. Maybe faster if you're not filming it. So anyway, guys, that's it. I hope this helps you out. If it did help you out and you want to kind of see more of what I do, go ahead and hit like and hit subscribe, follow the channel. Again, more stuff coming. It's the winter, so we're kind of slow right now, but there'll be a lot more content forthcoming in the summer months. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. I'll do my best to get back to you. I try to respond to everyone who comments on my videos. I will continue to do that as long as I possibly can, because I love interacting with you guys and getting your input and chatting with you. So I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Later.